you did it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I think we're, it's going to be like the regular meetings where we have reports and new business. And we are starting out with the Debar. So, Rabbi?
Well, I'm just struck by how this year, as we read through the book of Numbers, week after week, it seems to be paralleling the things in the news. So, but that's partly because the whole book of Numbers is about leadership and about challenges to leadership. And so week after week, it's been sort of one thing after another. And this week we come to a section called Pinchas, and it's a handing off of the generations in some ways. There's this moment in the story of the Torah portion where Moses is meeting with 70 elders of the Israelite people in the desert. And while that's happening out in the camp, there are a couple of people, Eldad and Medad, who are prophesying. And Joshua comes and reports this to Moses, and I think thinks that he's going to say, oh, we have to do something about that. We can't have these young people prophesying. But instead, Moses maybe surprises everybody and says, I wish that everybody was so moved. I wish that everybody had the heart to prophesy like Eldad and Medad. And so it's a real generational shift. And I don't think I have to belabor that point with any of you guys about how much that parallels what just happened,
Right.
A little over 24 hours ago. And just as it shows how humble Moses is, and how even after his long years of service and all the great things he's done for the Israelite people, he's ready to pass on the mantle to a generation that comes after him. So it's a pretty extraordinary debt that the people owe to Moses, and I guess I'd say that we have a debt that we owe to President Biden, who's led us these last few years, and now is passing on the mantle to the next generation. So, and we can hope that we can be like Eldad and Medad, and that's part of our Every Voice, Every Vote campaign, right, is to make sure to pass on to generations to come the value of voting, the importance of voting, and get them to become young prophets themselves, those who go out into the community and work to make sure that everybody votes and to make sure that we all make a difference.
Amen.
So God's will. Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have introductions next, but it seems like I think we all know each other, and it's a pretty small group. So we can do it if you guys want, but otherwise I'm gonna move on.
I think we all know each other.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so the first report we were gonna have was talk about the postcard, but Rich isn't here. Ellen, do you know?
Yeah,
Right.
I've been in touch.
Yep.
Well, the postcards, we are set. I'm going to help him get the packets ready. We have all the postcards. Apparently, he ordered those a while ago, or he's ordering a few more. We are going to commit to getting out 6,000 more postcards between now and October 15th, I think, when they're done, when they're ready. And the plan was, when they have to be mailed by, I think October 15th is the deadline. The plan was to do 3 states, 2,000 of each state. And we had agreed upon, I think, Arizona, Texas, and Florida, because all 3 states have senatorial elections. And we thought maybe that would be a little bit more telltale. To my knowledge, the campaign only includes the southern states. I actually could email somebody just to make sure, because I think things are up a little bit more up in the air now with what's just happened in the last 24 hours. If some of the swing states are involved, I'm not so sure we wouldn't be well off, going to some of the swing states. But for the moment, it would be Texas, Florida, and Arizona. And as soon as Rich and I decide to change that based on probably something that RAC would do, given the Every Voice, Every Vote campaign, I haven't received anything, but he might get something that I didn't get. we will be putting those orders in as soon as he gets back. And then as soon as they come, I will help him put the packets together. The goal was to have them ready for the day of action, but given the fact that we've upped it to 6,000, as soon as they're ready, which would probably be a couple of weeks before that, we will have them in the entryway like we always have in a, in a box. And we will send out reminders in the My Home at Home on Thursday and whatever else the office will assist us with in getting the word out that there are postcards. Because I think we have a pretty well-trained group of volunteers that want to take the postcards. We have many people from outside the congregation that we can, any of this goes for any of you and anybody you know, if there's somebody that you think wants to do it, as long as they're reliable and they can take a packet and we can rely on them to put the stamps on and take them back, that will be great. The other thing I wanted to mention is stamps. Rabbi, I think you had mentioned that you had bought stamps as well, did you not?
Yeah, I've got about 500.
That's great. So we can, this is how I would do the stamps for those people. There were quite a few last time. Some woman who's the daughter of somebody in the congregation, and she did about 10 packets. I think her kids helped her, but she couldn't afford the stamps. So we got other people to pay for the stamps. So I guess we'll find out whether there's anybody asking for assistance with the stamps. Otherwise, what we do is explain that here's the packet. The last group that we got out for July was in groups of 25 or 100, I think 50 or 100, I think. These will most likely be in groups of 100 if we're going to do 6,000 rather than packing smaller groups. But for anybody that wants to do them, we'll make sure when they're distributed that they're going to do the stamps. They have to fill out their name, so I usually follow up on that to make sure that they're going to get them mailed. And there is everybody that does it, you're supposed to email that you finish with it to show that you finished it. Yeah, you probably have all done them and you know that. So we're on track, and if there's any change, I can let who in this, I would let Amy know, but is there anybody else in this group that wants to know of any changes that are made? Because I'll write that down right now. You'll see it in the weekly thing, but Amy, I'll let you know. I did finally hear from Aaron, and he was in his junk mail or whatever, but
Right,
Aaron
that's what he said.
from the RAC is going to be at the day of action, and he is going to be concentrating on the Karina's bill. And I don't know why it's not a problem. I think I didn't talk to him. He just emailed me back. I think you got a copy, but I think he's fine with it. So I'm not concerned that he didn't understand why we had requested a room. And the reason why I requested a room inside was that once in a while, if they're new people and they haven't done postcards, they feel much more comfortable taking them home after they've spent 5-10 minutes with me, just understanding the instructions and going through it. And so I'm happy to do that. And I think given all the people that'll be at Day of Action, that's a perfect time to do it. If I can manage it outside, I'll do it. But if for some reason there's a whole group and we need a bigger space, I would take them into the library.
Yeah.
Lynn, did you have a question?
Yeah, Ellen, do you know how many we've done so far? We distributed some in the beginning of June. Do you know
This
how
year.
many?
I think there were 3,000, but I will check on that.
Okay.
I think that there were either 2,000 or 3,000, and we were going to do another 4. And I think Rich and I decided to up that to 6.
Okay.
And let me just ask, is there any strong feeling of what states anybody in this call would like? We were just going based on where we could have the most impact, and we thought that those states that had a senatorial race, would probably fit the bill. But I think from what I remember seeing the list, it was Georgia, the Carolinas, Texas, Arizona, Florida, and there might be 1 or 2 others that I'm missing, but they were Southern Alabama, maybe they were Southern states, not Northern states. But I think as we've all listened to and read the newspapers, I think Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and Michigan and Nevada, Jackie Rosen has a very tough race apparently. And other places are going to be very important too. And I don't know, let me see if I can ask RAC if they know of any changes being made based on what's just happened. And I'll get back to you.
Those 3,000 get sent out already?
Yes, we said, same procedure that we've done in the 2020 election and in the midterms in the 24, where we give out the packets, they're on the end to put the stamps on and get them out. Did somebody want to ask a question? I heard. Okay, so I think that at least 2 to 3,000, I'll verify that with Rich. I don't know, I think that was the amount that we distributed originally. We had them at the morning after the gala. We started passing them out and all of a sudden they were all gone. I just kept going up to people saying, would you like a card? And they were gone. Then I realized that there were some people, I guess, that weren't participating in the packing of, what were we packing?
The rice to hunger.
Yeah, the hunger packages. I went up to the table luckily and found several packets that had been opened, but they hadn't finished them. So I took them all. Some wonderful person who had done one wanted another group, another packet. So I got rid of some of them and I did the rest of them myself. And they were really, I thought the messages are great. I think, here's my takeaway after doing this 3 times. They're colorful, you know, it's a nonpartisan message. So they're never told who to vote for, but they're getting out the vote. And the ones that I did for North Carolina had a little sticker in the middle that asked people to pledge to vote. So they went to a website and pledged their intent to vote, which they say really makes them then go make sure that they get to the polls in November. And then their little messages, the fact that the first line was justice is on the ballot this November. And the next line was your voice is your power and your vote is your voice and your power. And you underline in color, you know, certain of those words, and then you sign it in solidarity with your name as a volunteer. And there was a really catchy name for anybody remember that for the name of the committee. And I think it's so colorful and different that it makes them look at it. The list that I got, the ages ranged from 19 being first voters to 80 something. So they're all ages, but they're all registered Democratic voters. And they say that they track this and that they really work. So I think the effort is well taken. We know what the stakes are. We really want to make sure we can do everything we can.
Thanks, Ellen. All right, the next topic was the day of action. Maybe.
So I think that we're really in good shape. We have over 22 tables, and I briefly saw that Ike has invited somebody, but I didn't read the email yet, so I'm still not clear on who you invited.
So Eric Reinhardt is
Oh,
running for state's attorney in Lake County. And we have a table, I think, of gun violence prevention.
We do.
So he'd
Yes,
be
we
happy
do.
to sit there with them. And he can't politic, of course, but he can meet and greet. And, you know, I mean, I saw him yesterday and he just made a couple of points that I could make from the BEMA, frankly, that are not, you know, we can't tell people who to vote for, but we can tell people what the issues are and, you know, what kind of stand they should take on issues. So I think he's a good addition, and I'd like to see him reelected personally, but I can't say that from the BEMA.
I agree. No, I agree. He's a good guy.
Well, I'm glad he's coming. That'll be wonderful.
Yeah.
We have a lot of really wonderful things. We have our own Laura Frisch right here, who's going to be bringing her books and doing a signage and actually doing a reading of her book, Run, Run, Run. And Evan is going to be there with all of his publications and talking about his books and signing them. And I just think that it's a wonderful group that we have. We're having a Jewish genetic testing is going to be there also. There's just a whole wide variety. So I think weather permitting, please, I think it's going to be a wonderful day.
Are you having some of it inside or is it all outside again?
It's outside. It's outside. It's always been outside. So far we've been really lucky. It was really hot last year, but we're planning on it. And Ross will be there, Ross Krakow will be there, but not with the whole band. I was trying to tone down the sound just a little bit so that the people at the tables really felt that people walking around can hear them. So that will be good. And the shredding truck will be way off in the corner, so that noise won't bother anybody either. And of course, Kay from Wild Roaster is going to be serving us bagels, cream cheese, muffins, and iced coffee.
Great.
And I think that it looks like everything seems to be on board. just last minute connections with people to see what questions they have, getting their posters ready, and then getting all the tables set up. So we're in good shape with it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a
Next-
question real quick.
Go ahead.
Amy, do you need any of us there at a certain time? I know it starts at 10.
Well, we always ask for people to come at 9:30.
Okay,
Just to set up. And I do take that moment before it opens up at 10 so that I can pass around the entire circle so that all the people that are there have an opportunity to meet the other people and what their missions are so that they're not that so that there's a familiarity with what everybody's providing. So so that will be done before 10 o'clock.
Oh, so Amy, you did a great job with that last year because it gave you a feeling for what was going on. So that
I
means
just felt that other people who were sitting, they didn't know who was sitting down there. They
Right.
didn't know who was over there. And this gives like a cohesiveness to the morning
And
so
I
that
think-
people know when.
I think it made people who were there that didn't know much about Day of Action, non-Macomb people, feel really
Exactly.
good about the breadth of different people that were there.
Right.
I don't
Right.
want to give, Amy, I'm not so sure you know, I didn't want to scare you. I am having a shoulder replacement on
And I
August
know.
18th. So I will make every effort to be there. Will not be able to drive. I'll be in an arm sling for about 6 weeks, but I will be there if I will send out an SO. There, I have several people I could contact if there was a problem, but I just wanted you to make sure you knew.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I was off a month for you.
Do you need volunteers to help?
If anybody wants, if you find people that want to help, they can always contact me, but no, unless I'll be able to handle it all unless, I'm not feeling well. But I should be fine. It's 5 days after.
Okay,
What, this is like a theme. 1 year Amy came after her knee surgery. Now Ellen's gonna come.
Every year it was something. Every year it was something for me. That is absolutely correct. Let's hope this year is just Ellen's in full recovery and everything
Great.
is good and no one else has anything. That is true.
all right. Well, reach out if you need stuff.
Laura?
You're muted.
You're muted.
You
Can
wanna
can the host
Laura?
unmute her?
There
you
you
go.
are.
Okay, thank you. So I just want to ask, because we're gonna do the little reading of the story. I have a friend who has lent me a tent before. I could bring a tent, like a canopy, and we could just put it over in the grass. So when we do the story time, it can just be over there. Would that be helpful?
That absolutely. That would be fantastic.
Okay, great. I'll do that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And then as long as can I just talk about one other thing?
Sure.
So in addition to the Day of Action, we're also, the Hesed Circle is doing a kindness tea. And that kindness tea, the invitations are going to go out this week. You'll see it in the My Macomb this week. And it's going to be on Wednesday, September 18th at 11 to 1. In the social hall before canasta, so that anybody who's playing canasta can then, not be late for that. And we're just going to have an opportunity to share stories of an experience or act of kindness that touched or enriched your life. And we're just going to have a beautiful, like an English tea with finger sandwiches and desserts and tea. And it's just going to be lovely, I think. And Ari Moffat is going to come and be our guest speaker. And she's going to start us off with what kindness means to her and share an experience. And Jay is going to lead songs in kindness. And so hopefully it will have just a beautiful moment for all of us to reflect and share stories. So everybody's invited. There's no cost involved. It's just 11 to 1.
Great. Okay. Next thing we had was talking about the August collection, which is going to be school supplies for Herzl and Good Hope Free Will Baptist Church is what So I think that was just to say that that's gonna be the August collection. Do we have to let the office know to put it in, Sharon?
Yeah, I can let them know we need to find out exactly, give some guidelines for what they want. I know Vanessa usually coordinates
Yeah.
the one for Herzl and she's out of town. Rabbi, can we get
I
in
did
touch
the-
with,
Yeah.
go ahead, with Pastor and find out what the church wants for school supplies?
Sure, I'm pretty sure they're collecting anything and everything. that
Anything? Okay.
Qualifies as school supply, yeah.
Sharon, I think I wrote up our request last year. Let me look through my email.
Okay, great.
And so we don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Reinvent. That would
I
be
think I
great.
have that in my computer.
Okay.
All right, and then our last report was gonna be on Lake County United.
Wait, mask.
Oh, mask, right.
We
Oh
skipped
my God,
mask.
I skipped mask. Thanks,
Yeah.
Sharon.
For
All right,
Laura.
forget that. All right, go for mask.
All right. You want to start, Laura, or?
I put the
Sure.
link for the sign up on the
Mhm.
agenda as well.
Thank
Sure.
you.
So I think for those who have not gone, what we do is Mask began almost 10 years ago in Inglewood at 75th and Stewart, where a woman was standing in front of her kids to keep them from being shot, and she was killed. This was a friend of Tamar Manasseh, who it turns out is a rabbi. She just was ordained a couple years ago. There's a new documentary out about her. It was actually in Highland Park. So if you get a chance to see it, it's supposed to be fantastic. I did not get a chance to get there. Anyways, what we do is we go down there. She basically, her and her organization took over an abandoned lot. They got it from the park district, who somehow owned it, and they have taken shipping containers, 3 of them, and a smaller one, so a 4th one, turned them into classrooms. One's like a kitchenette, and one is an office where she's able to sort of counsel people, the parents, when they bring their kids there, from 4 to 7 p.m. Every weekday, and they have sort of an after camp care / dinner barbecue, and they welcome anyone to come and help them. And I think the important thing about that is that they really feel that building community there helps us to build community everywhere. So by having churches, synagogues, there's there was a Muslim organization on the South Side that was bringing it a couple of years ago. So they've really been able to sort of include a lot of different people. Some kids just go down and do it as a scout project or whatever. But so basically we go down there and we bring everything for the barbecue. They have the barbecue itself, the whatever, Weber or whatever. And we even bring things like, they ask if, we're asking if anybody has like, if you have a barbecue set that you don't use, like the spatula or the tongs from or whatever, if you could donate it to us, if it's in a good shape. It doesn't have to be brand new, but if it's clean and in good shape, even things like that, because a lot of stuff down there, it just gets lost, it gets stolen. It's a difficult situation down there because they're only there from 4 to 7 in the evening. There is a fence around there, it's locked, but so they have some tables. It's best if we all bring our own chairs, just sort of your soccer chair. And then we bring down the food. Sharon has a complete list of everything that we will need. And I think she shared that out. Is that it, Sharon, is that link is working in the flyer? Okay. So you can see what is needed. Like I know for myself, I'm making zucchini muffins, and those are great because I individually wrap them and then everybody can eat one and they can take one home. We're going to look and try to get some containers that are just like paper containers, like Chinese food containers, that kind of a thing. so that people can bring some food home. Always, the kids always ask, can I bring a plate home? They're always concerned about their siblings, about their parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, whoever it is that the adult in the home is. And then we also bring things like sidewalk chalk and jump ropes and Nerf balls and things like that, so the kids can play with it. We're doing a drive right now for various, if people can just go in their garages. Do you have a basketball in there? Do you have even they have like scooters and bicycles that they have enough concrete there that the kids can ride them around. And that's, it's like the only safe place that those kids can learn how to do those things. So that's sort of what it is. It's an amazing little sort of corner down there. They've been there for almost 10 years. For the first time in the time that they've been there this summer, there was a shooting there. No one was killed, nobody's hurt, but it was just scary that it was actually happening. And because of that, more and more people from the community have kind of come out in support for Mask and for what they're doing, which was really nice to see. And people in the community there in Inglewood, and people also in the surrounding Chicago area community. So that's been a positive out of something that was sort of a stressful negative. And I think I'll be reading from our book for the kids who are there. I'm going to be doing some face painting. I think if Susie can get there, she's going to do some art projects with the kids. And and kind of just depends on the day. You just don't know if you're going to have 10, 20, 30, 40 kids. Like it just depends on the day. It really does. So our plan is to bring hot dogs and hamburgers, keeping it simple, easy, quick to cook on the grill. And pretty much we'll end up having to like do the full grill thing. So if anybody's great at the grill, they're welcome to do it. I think that's I might actually just bring a container for it, bring our chimney. Unless somebody has like one of those charcoal chimneys at home that they want to donate. It lights so much faster. And as Sharon knows, it takes a while to get the grill going. So I think that's everything. Sharon, can you think of anything else? And we are meeting at 2:30 on the 5th at Macomb Sola Lakeside, and we're gonna carpool down there. So I'll be driving. I have I think Amy's coming with, her sister's coming. Susie's gonna come with me if she can. So that'll be Sharon. Did you want to come with me, or are you gonna drive down? What do you want to do?
I'll drive.
Okay.
I'll meet there, and I'll also have drive.
So we'll need a couple cars depending on
figure
how
out
many people come. Yeah.
what fits in what car, because everybody is also bringing their little chairs and
Everybody will
stuff.
have their chairs and all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So, and please only bring the little chairs that like fold up. Do you see what I'm saying? As opposed to like the bigger chairs that fold flat. If you don't have like a soccer chair like that, I have several. So just let me know and I can bring a few extra.
No, just the sign up sheet. Yeah. So but even if you can't attend, if you can provide some food, we're also accepting monetary donations in the office. The staff has very kindly, all over the years, they collect the money and then they just cut us one check so that we can go and buy all the hamburgers and hot dogs. So it's all the same, that the kids are all getting the same. And just to echo what Laura said, it's just a very warm community. And if you go, several of us gone many years, you see some of the same children over the years and the same parents, and you feel like you can't, like, oh, I haven't seen you for a year, so whatever happened to this and that. And it's a great experience. But anyway, whatever, and tell your friends in whatever capacity people can participate in, whether it's just a donation or actual in attendance. Amy.
Has the monetary link opened up? It wasn't open last week in the office. Is it open now?
I don't know that there's a link.
I can find out.
I
mean, just that they weren't ready to
just
accept.
Okay, I can check with Stacy, but I don't know. I'll check with Stacy.
Okay, because last week they weren't ready. Okay.
Yeah. So, and if you have questions or think of something, I mean, a lot of us have been down there. So if you think of something that we haven't thought of yet or mentioned yet or coordinated yet, just shoot out a note to Laura or me and we'll get it set up and look for
Sure.
changes in time, you know, depending on the traffic or how many, we're hoping to get a better count of actually how many children are going, since we're not going till August. They should have a, you know, we should have some other people to find out what their experience was with how many kids show
Yeah,
up.
hopefully they had a pretty well attended. Last Saturday they had a big
Yeah.
donation thing where they had people come down and people were like lined up to get, you know, diapers and they usually have like strollers and they have you know,
Yeah,
food
but
and things like
that's-
that. So that's more of a
different,
giveaway,
yeah.
but that's also a way for them to let people know that they're there from 4 to 7. So the more they do that, the more they get more people during the week. So yeah, we'll have a better idea of that. And I think, you know, and I think the other thing about it is it will be a long drive with the traffic that we're having right now. And it gives us a great opportunity. If you haven't really felt like, oh, I've only met a few people, I've only come to these meetings, it would be great to like get a chance to chat. You'll have a nice long time to chat and create Kahila and, you know, community. It'll be nice.
Joanne.
So if you were going to write out a check and bring it to the synagogue, then it would be made out to Macomb.
Yes.
And then if we were going to bring any kind of food, do we need to let Laura know what we're bringing so you don't have duplicates or?
Yes.
Yeah, you can
or
let myself or Sharon, our emails are on the flyer.
Okay.
Or if you have our emails anyways, you can
Yeah.
just let us know what you're gonna bring. And then Sharon can update the spreadsheet, and that way that way we don't have duplicates of things. But
Okay.
yeah, that would be great.
Okay. All right, now Lake County United.
Okay, well, this comes under the heading as the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'll start with housing because housing is a big issue. Some of you know that Lake County United was working on 2 housing projects. One, Libertyville, and the other Waukegan. One in Waukegan, we had actually thought we had gotten pretty far. We had a we were going to get $3 million from the state. The Lake Behavioral Hospital that owned the land where we wanted to build had given us a letter of intent to donate the land to us. And they had begun after some hesitation, they had begun demolition on the old buildings and the old parking garage that was there. It's the old St. Therese Hospital land, if any of you are familiar with Waukegan. And all that seemed to be humming right along, but it turned out that the company that Lake Behavioral Hospital hired to do the demolition was not so good about asbestos abatement.
Oh,
And
no.
the state shut them down. There's huge fines. There's all sorts of there's lawsuits going on right now. And the project is literally ground to a halt. We've got an extension on the donation of the money from the state, but right now it looks like we're probably going to have to find another piece of land. And I don't know that we can get another piece of land donated to us. I mean, this is a big parcel of land. So that's kind of where it stands right now. If any of you know of some land that's going useless and might be useful, that would be good. Sharon probably knows more about the Libertyville one than I do. They do not have land as far as I know. They've got some places they would like to build. and they're working on getting support from the local officials. So that's the sort of in between. And then there's the National Gun Violence Prevention Consortium. You may or may not know that the senators and the congressmen and women, each office gets a certain amount of federal funds that they can give out in their districts. And Senator Murphy of Connecticut gave several $1 million of his money to the National Gun Safety Consortium. So there's it has absolutely transformed the work we're doing in Connecticut. We did apply to Durban, we did apply to other people, but didn't get one in Illinois. Illinois is sort of where it is right now. We did, just so you know, Rabbi, we did apply when Eric Reinhardt was applying for the funding he got to start his gun violence prevention work. We applied for a piece of that, a very small piece of that, to underwrite 5 small police departments in Lake County United becoming part of the Gun Safety Consortium, but he turned us down. So we don't, and we haven't been able to get that money in any place, but we want to keep it up. But the good news is that in Connecticut, we'll have Connecticut to point to, because they've done an awful lot of really good work. And the former head of the American Academy of Pediatrics is helping us work on starting a giveaway program for emergency rooms in areas where it's legal. Believe it or not, it's not legal in all areas. In areas where it's legal to ask parents of children who come into the ER whether or not there's a gun in the house. And if so, we would like to be able to get the funding to buy the biometric quick release locks and just hand them out. Right now, the locks that are being handed out, particularly by Eric's group, are these cable locks. They're cheap, but they're not quick release, and they're easily, all you do is need some bolt cutters and you're into them. So what we're hoping, some of the people we have connections with have invented some of these quick release locks, and we're hoping that we can get some. But again, it will take a grant, and it's just in the early stages right now. And that's all I have to say. I wish I had more. Good news.
Well, always a chance to talk to Eric Reinhardt. You know, it's not a bad thing.
I've talked to him a bunch of times. He's probably
Yeah.
sick of me. But yes, I'll talk to him anyway. I mean, he's a
It
good
can't
guy.
hurt to see you in a different location, in a different context.
This is very true. This is very true. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right, I think that's it for, I don't think I missed anything else for the reports. Just had 2 things for new business. I'm going to switch them around and talk about our the Shabbat speakers, because we don't have one for July. And basically what we are discussing, and we don't have one for August either, I don't think. Currently, we do not have one for August.
We
So,
do have
who
one
is
for,
it? Okay, so who is it for August? Because I don't have it written down.
okay, if you want, I can screen share the, anyway, okay, so we
Yeah,
have
you have-
August and September confirmed.
Okay,
Not
not on my sheet, so that's why.
Well, are you on the 24-25 sheet?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so the August one is on the last year's sheet. Okay, so we Yes, so we had one in June. We decided we didn't have something set up for July, so we were asked not to be, and then they did Pet Shabbat on our
Mhm.
Tikkun Olam Shabbat.
Yeah,
So August is Gail Schechter with Home. It's housing opportunities and maintenance for the elderly. Andy Amon set this up. And she's going to talk about her organization. And I thought it was just local, but apparently it's a national organization, but she's directs it here. And they help, the elderly stay
the-
in their homes.
Sharon,
What's the
what's the date of that?
August 15th is the
August
date.
15th? Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's the date that I see that listed. So her organization is called Home.
Home, it's housing, it's the initials, HOME.
Yeah,
And it stands for Housing Opportunities and Maintenance for the Elderly. And then September, and we didn't plan to do 2 elderly ones in a row, but the September one was supposed to be last May and it had to be rescheduled. And she didn't want to do it over the summer because she has a little video, but Emily Mizell, who's a Macomb congregant, works, she's a social worker. She works for Glencoe, but she also works with communities to make them a program dementia-friendly communities. And she's going to talk about what that entails. And, I'm pretty sure that Highland Park participates in this.
Highland
So-
Park and Deerfield participate in that.
I'm sorry,
So
what?
Highland Park and Deerfield participate in that, so.
Okay, great. So Emily's going to talk, and October, it's not 100%, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So our speaker will be for that, and it's not 100% confirmed, but we have a congregant whose grandfather passed away from breast cancer. It occurs in males, and so our congregant's mother or aunt is going to speak about breast cancer and broaden the spectrum a little bit.
Okay.
Joanne,
Have they ever spoken about the Deerfield Free Store? Dawn or Aaron to talk about it?
that's it's scheduled for
March.
March.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so
Yeah. The other,
I
I have the list open, the ones that we are discussing or have not been confirmed, but we have that we are approaching, I should say. Gratitude generation for November. You're on mute.
I'm working on them. We're still
Yeah.
trying to put that together.
Okay.
And I'm working on December. We're trying to get Mimi's house.
Mm-hmm.
It's a foster children organization. Still not confirmed, working on it.
Yeah. In January, we have Fill a Heart for Kids, hopefully, also not confirmed. February is Jewish Disability Month, so Vanessa is looking for somebody for that. Deerfield Free Store for March. That's basically where we're at right now.
you're on
and
mute,
then-
Laura.
Oh, sorry, Laura. Nope.
No.
And then we know Lou Hello, I'm gonna say his name wrong. Hellebush.
You got it. Hellebush, that's it.
Hellebush, right. He reached out. He's on the board of Vocel or Vocal. I'm not exactly sure how they say it. So I know that he wanted to have someone speak as well. So That is our speakers.
That's good.
So, we have 10 minutes left. Lynn wanted me to just talk about, if you guys are interested, I just came back from an Israel volunteer trip. So for anyone who is interested in hearing about it, I actually have a little video, but I'm not going to show that now. But it was a incredibly meaningful, amazing trip. We were there. I went with my friend. We went through an organization called, it was just a tour company, basically, Authentic Israel. It wasn't any like Jewish organization. It was, we in fact had some people on our trip that were not Jewish that just wanted to help Israel. So, and we did things like we made food for the soldiers, because all they really get when they're fighting is tuna. We went to a food bank where soup kitchens, they have like a similar to like Moraine Township, where you can go and shop for free, and they feed 250 families weekly that can't support themselves. A lot of them are Holocaust survivors. And we also made food for them and also for the soldiers. One of the things that we noticed while we were there in the hotels, they were overrun with evacuees from the north and south. Especially in Jerusalem, there were just like in the hallways of the hotel, there's just children's little furniture and toys and strollers and push toys and things. There was actually a preschool in the hotel because they have been out of their homes for 9 months now. And one of the organizations that we went to was really interesting, called Our People. The person who started, also all these organizations are just started, they're not through the government, they're all just individual people who saw a need and started something. Anyway, this woman was actually she was born in Moscow. She moved to the United States. I mean, and I might have, she was my age. She moved to the United States and then she made Aliyah to Israel later. She started an organization when the Ukraine war broke out to help all the Ukrainian refugees that came over to Israel because they were coming with, had to start a whole new life. And then when October 7th happened, she switched over, or in addition, I would say added, and to help all the evacuees. So she did things like get washer and dryers into the hotels. I mean, things that you don't even think about, because when you're staying in a hotel, they don't have washer and dryers for everybody. And a lot of these families have, a lot of children. These religious families that have a lot of children and have all this stuff. So she did things like that. And right now she's doing a camp for the kids that are displaced. So we helped, we just made little care packages for them and for the soldiers, and we wrote notes. So anyways, I encourage everybody there was so happy and shocked that that we came. Especially a lot of the young people were like, you paid to come here to help us. Like, they were just so shocked that somebody actually cares, because that's like not what they're seeing. So that was my trip.
Wonderful. How long were you there?
We were there for about a week. We were in Tel Aviv. We stayed in Tel Aviv. we got there Monday night, so Monday through Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday we went to Jerusalem. So,
Well, thank you for going. It was
mhm.
great.
So yeah,
So I was hopeful that possibly some of the organizations that Sophia worked with, particularly the organization called Our People, we might be able to get some of those organizers on a Zoom call, and it's possible we might be able to do some programming with them. So that's one of the reasons I was interested in what Sophia did there. We might be able to, probably not on a Friday night, however, but maybe at another time we could have a program about organizations in Israel that are doing work like this.
they're all right, because the woman from Our People and then the woman who started the Feeding the Soldiers program, I mean, the woman who started the Feeding the Soldiers program, she honestly, the way she did it was on, October 8th, basically got a text from her child's school saying like, oh, the soldiers need like vegetables. So she woke her child up and was like, come on, we're going to the store, we're gonna go buy them vegetables. And she texted, 10 of her friends and said, hey, I'm going to the store to get vegetables. Do you want me to buy you some, for the soldiers? And that snowballed. Now she's got like 5 different army bases she goes to where we basically packed food, and because everything is so close. It's like you think of here when we're, if we were making food for the soldiers, they would be, getting there and everything. But there, somebody just drives it to them and they have it, whether they're fighting in the north or the south. So it was incredible. And then the ones that were on the base, the one base we went to was people who were either going into or coming back from Rafah. It was kind of their like place to get a night's rest. So they really appreciated the chicken schnitzels we made. So it was just interesting to talk to them, get their experience. So they're all like 18 to 22-year-old, my children's age, looking at them like, hey, you should not be in the middle of a war zone right now. So,
Thank
yeah.
you, Sophia, for that. And say a real positive about that. When I went in March, I mean, I've never felt more welcome in Israel.
Yeah.
than I felt in March. I mean, just, people were so touched by the presence of people coming from abroad to be there. We'll say on the negative side, can you imagine, us sending our soldiers into war without socks?
Yeah.
Which is like sort of the other side of this, is that the Israeli population and folks like Sophia are, doing things, it's way beyond like sending them cookies or something, they have real material needs that they're not getting another way. So
It's crazy, but they're very, what I found with the Israelis, they don't stand around for bureaucracy. They need something done, they just go and do it. Like when we were at,
what happens in the war there too is people don't wait to be called up to their unit. They go wherever they think they're needed, and then
right,
so it's a very different kind of military experience in America, because it's not a volunteer army as we have here. Anyway,
but it was
things before we're done. Just we don't have a Tikkun Olam Shabbat this month, but this Friday is Fair Trade Shabbat. So we have a fair trade chocolate oneg, and I'll say a few words about fair trade and stuff at the service. And then tomorrow night we have a Zoom for people who are interested in hearing more about our trip in November, which is definitely a Tikkun Olam related trip. Pastor Parks from the Free Will Good Hope Baptist Church and I are going to be leading the group down to Atlanta into Alabama and up to Memphis in November, right after the election. So so if you're interested, if you know anybody that's interested, if you know anybody who might be interested, you can tell them about the Zoom tomorrow, but we're also going to be recording that so that people can hear answers to their questions and whatever. But we really do need to get signups in. November is around the corner in a lot of ways, but we need the signups for the trip to come in.
I think that is everything. Our next meeting's August
Next trip to
19th.
Israel.
Right. I wish. I'm ready to go back. August 19th.
May I just throw something out that I forgot to say?
Sure.
All right. On August 15th, Lake County United is sponsoring a training for listening campaigns and strategy sessions for congregations that are Lake County United members. So if anybody is interested, any congregant can go. I happen to have a conflict, so I'm not going. But if any of you are interested, I will send out information.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Well, okay. I think we're adjourned. Thank
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.